Every winter in America, people survive freezing temperatures with almost nothing. Not by being tough, but by understanding heat, routine, and risk better than most housed people ever do. This is not about glorifying homelessness. It's about learning from reality. When systems fail or people fall through them, survival becomes brutally simple, and the lessons apply to anyone facing cold, outages, or displacement. Cold doesn't kill fast. It kills through exposure, exhaustion, and bad decisions. People who survive winter learn how to slow all three. They understand that the cold isn't an enemy you fight head on. It's a constant pressure you have to manage minute by minute, hour by hour. The first strategy, the one that underpins all others, is that insulation matters more than heat. What actually keeps people alive isn't a blazing fire, but the simple, constant act of trapping their own body heat. This means layered clothing, not just a big, thick coat, but multiple looser layers that create pockets of trapped air. It means ground insulation. The cold, hard ground will suck the heat right out of your body, so a barrier of cardboard, newspapers, or even dry leaves is more critical than a blanket on top of you. And it means blocking the wind. A simple wall or a thicket of bushes can be the difference between a bearable night and a lethal one. This works because insulation is on the job 24/7. Fire and heaters are temporary, they run out of fuel. Your body is the real furnace, constantly generating heat. Insulation is just the system that keeps that heat from escaping. So the first action is to prioritize insulation over finding a heat source. Always insulate under your body. Remember that loose layers trap air far better than tight ones. You don't need to be warm, you need to stop losing heat. The second strategy is to stay dry at all costs. Water is the cold's deadliest ally. The things that really kill people in the winter are often silent and seem minor. Sweat from walking too fast, a pair of wet socks, or a damp jacket that won't dry. Dryness matters because water strips heat from your body relentlessly, about 25 times faster than air. Once your insulation gets wet, it collapses. Those insulating air pockets disappear and your clothing starts working against you, pulling warmth away. Hypothermia accelerates silently in these conditions. The action here is preventative. Vent your layers before you start sweating. If you're walking and feel yourself getting warm, open your jacket. Stop and cool down for a minute. Change your socks as often as you can. Carrying a dry pair is one of the most important survival preps you can have. And never, ever go to sleep or rest for a long period in damp clothes. Dry out first, no matter how tired you are. Cold plus wet equals a countdown. If this is more practical than the survival myths you usually hear, follow this podcast. This channel focuses on what actually keeps people alive, not fantasies. The third strategy is that routine saves lives. This isn't about tactics, it's about psychology. Long-term survivors in any situation create patterns. They follow a daily schedule. They try to eat at consistent times. They sleep when it's safest and most practical, and they do their necessary movement like gathering resources during daylight. Why does this work? Because routine reduces the immense stress of a chaotic situation. It preserves precious mental and physical energy that would otherwise be wasted on panicked, impulsive decisions. It prevents mental collapse by giving the brain a predictable framework to operate within. The lesson for any crisis is to build a simple daily structure. Wake up, check your supplies, make a plan for the day, eat, rest. That predictability keeps your brain functional when everything around you is not. Routine is psychological insulation. Strategy number 4 is about location, and location is about wind, not secrecy. There's a common myth that survival is about hiding and staying out of sight. The reality for someone sleeping outside is that wind exposure is far deadlier than visibility. An unseen spot on an exposed hill is a death trap. A slightly more visible spot behind a dumpster or a concrete retaining wall is life. Elevation and drafts are silent killers. What works are windbreaks, anything that stands between you and the moving air. Enclosed spaces, even a small alcove or a deep doorway, are better than the open. And something called thermal mass, Large concrete or stone objects that absorb heat during the day and radiate it slowly at night can offer a small but meaningful temperature advantage. So when choosing a shelter, the first question isn't can anyone see me, it's can the wind get to me? Avoid open, elevated, or drafty areas. Wind steals heat faster than cold. Strategy 5 is calories are fuel, not comfort. In winter, your body is a machine burning fuel to stay alive, and its consumption rate goes up way high. Hunger isn't just uncomfortable, it accelerates cold injury. Your body can't generate heat if it has no fuel to burn. What survivors prioritize are cheap, dense calories: peanut butter, nuts, bread, anything with a lot of fat and carbs. Regular intake is just as important. They don't wait until they're starving. They eat to stay ahead of the energy deficit. The actionable lesson is to always eat before resting or sleeping for the night. Your body needs that fuel to shiver and maintain its core temperature while you're inactive. Don't skip meals in cold conditions, ever. And hydrate even when you don't feel thirsty. Dehydration thickens your blood and makes it harder for your body to circulate warmth. A fed body survives longer than a motivated one. Strategy 6 is movement is limited and purposeful. The instinct in the cold is to keep moving to stay warm, but this can be a fatal mistake. What kills people is wandering without a destination, which just burns energy, overexertion, which leads to sweat and then a dangerous chill, and night movement, which is inefficient and high risk. What works is moving with intent. I am going from point A to point B to get food. That's it. Rest often along the way. Avoid any unnecessary travel. You have to treat your energy like the gasoline in your car's tank during a shortage. Every drop counts. Stop before you feel exhausted, because exhaustion is the point of no return. Stillness beats speed in winter. The final strategy is about other people, avoiding crowds and conflict. In a crisis, and especially when you're vulnerable, conflict is deadly, and not for the obvious reasons. Injuries don't heal well in the cold with poor nutrition. An infection can be a death sentence when medical access is zero. And the stress response itself, the adrenaline, the cortisol, burns an incredible amount of energy you need for warmth. So what survivors do is stay low profile. They avoid situations that could escalate. They learn to de-escalate, to walk away. The action is simple. In a crisis, don't seek confrontation. Blend in. Don't try to dominate a space or a resource. Survival favors calm, not confrontation. And this leads to the big lesson that most people miss. People assume winter survival is about gear, a fancy sleeping bag, a special fire starter. It's about behavior. The people who survive harsh winters don't beat the cold, they manage it. Homeless people who survive winter aren't lucky. They've learned, sometimes the hard way, how heat, energy, and decisions really work. They understand the physics of staying alive in a way that is stripped of all comfort and illusion. If you understand those rules before you need them, you don't have to learn them the hard way.